Hello, it is Friday, May 27th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Friday puzzle, so our first of two themeless puzzles for the week, and perhaps a more difficult solve than we've been dealing with for the last few days. We'll have to see. And this themeless edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Skella Chicken, Quotidiophile, and as always, the inestimable Hood Monster and the invaluable Timothy Mark. Thank you so much to the four of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for directly supporting this channel. I do very much appreciate it. And if you'd like to join their ranks and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug as a benefactor, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. And there's a link, of course, in the description field underneath the video as well. And thank you to everybody who has backed the Patreon campaign at any level. For that, you'll get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the Patreon channel to date and the new ones that go up each week. And after this, I think I'll have time to go right on into recording the weekly mini puzzle speed solve. And I think I may have time today to do an extra video as well. So we'll see how that goes. But all of that on the Patreon for those of you who are patrons. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel as well, to the YouTube channel, I mean. We are so close to to ticking over the next 1,000 subscriber mark, which is always very exciting for me when it happens. So thank you to everybody who's contributed to that milestone. All right, let's get on to the Friday puzzle. As I didn't say, actually, it was constructed by David Distenfeld. I think this is David Distenfeld's third puzzle, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. And we will not have any kind of theme for us today, unless something very surprising is going on, but I doubt that. Lures into a relationship by using a fictional online persona. This was a thing that catfishes. I don't remember exactly the origin of this. There's some sort of documentary about somebody who did this, and it was called catfishing because of the online handle of the person who did it or something. I don't quite remember, but I do remember the term. Mustard for one. So if I'd seen this before the filling in catfishes, I really would have only been thinking about the condiment mustard. Probably my favorite sort of run-of-the-mill condiment. But I think in this, with that C, it may be Colonel Mustard, the character from Clue, the board game Clue, or Cluedo, as they say in the UK here. I think that's probably the answer. Is that blank? Is that all? Start of account. 2, 3, 4. I don't know why that would be the start of account. What about this? Like households with stay-at-home spouses, typically. Yeah. Maybe this isn't, is that all? Because I would have assumed this to be one income. Households with Is that an... Let's just put this in and see if it fits the other crosses. Why don't I see what this is? Sorry. Start of account. Oh, 10. If you're counting down, you could count down from 10. That's much more plausible than counting up from 2. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not seeing whatever that is. Some pudding ingredients. Figs, as in figgy pudding. And hurting is injured or in pain. That's much better. Like the milk in cafe au lait, sometimes. Sometimes. Well, it's not steamed if this is one income. What about this? It may be taken for dramatic effect. Oh, sorry. Long pause, but this is that a no? For some reason I don't know why, I was really consumed with the idea that this would be a something. Sorry, it is a something. I kept thinking it would be an something, like an I or an O or that for some, I don't know why. But no, is that a no? I'm not really sure why that took me so long. Anyway, it may be taken for dramatic effect. A long pause, which is what took me a very long pause to fill out, is that a no? Okay, like the milk in cafe au lait, it could be scalded. The milk could scald if the milk came in contact with particularly hot coffee and scalded. There we go. Do the Right Thing Pizzeria. This is Sal's from the great Spike Lee film, Do the Right Thing. Sal's, I think the full name of the restaurant. It's Sal's Famous Pizza, if I recall correctly. Improbable orders for onophiles would be house wines. You wouldn't expect a wine expert, an onophile, to order simply the house red. Okay, 515 EG. In the American date convention, which is month/day, this would be the Ides of March, the day on which Caesar was murdered, assassinated. Mama Grizzly. Mama Grizzly. I assume this is referring to a grizzly bear. Not sure. I'm sure it'll be obvious when I see it. What about this? Matches. Seize, as in matching a bet, see a bet in a card game. And get around. To get around. It could be to get around as in to generally be mobile or to be active. It could also mean get around as to evade something or somebody. Let's go back up to these crosses we've not yet seen. Occasion for a high flute. Occasion for a high flute. I'm not sure. Occasion. Something is being used in a punny sort of way here with the question mark. It could mean high in the sense that it could mean high up at high altitude rather than a high pitch, which is what you'd ordinarily read this as meaning. Occasion could mean, I don't know. Flute could be not the instrument, but some other sort of similar sound. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Sorry. They're used during film production and promotion. And the one in Layla lasts 3 minutes, 48 seconds. So Layla is a song. The one verse? Not sure. Mixed emotions, so to speak. And Jacques Cousteau's milieu. Could it be Mer for the ocean? Jacques Cousteau, the sort of ocean explorer and documentarian. And parts of some bowls in brief. Sorry, I say this because it's French for ocean. Anyway, I don't think I mentioned that. Parts of some bowls in brief. No, probably ends in an S. World record holder. I don't know. Boy, I'm not doing well here, am I? Get around. Giant manufacturer of industrial machinery. Not sure offhand. Hawaiian chorus. Hawaiian chorus. Alohas? A chorus of alohas? Not really sure if that works. Let's check the crosses. Item to pack for a trip abroad. Actually, yes, this could be an adapter to allow your electronic devices to work with a different wall outlet format. Follower of many state names. With that D there, I suspect this is EDU. You could have a university that's the name of a state, like ohio.edu or something. Could imagine that. I'm not 100% certain, but let's check some of these crosses. Downtimes with a question mark. Well, does it end in S? Some SAT takers are juniors or seniors in high school. Probably seniors. You'd think this would end, an S ending here would be much more likely. A J ending would be very surprising. So let's put an S in there. I'm pretty sure that's right. A do-over is what? A mulligan, a redo, a retake? I'm not sure. Blowout. Oh, a let maybe in certain sports, for instance. In tennis, you can have a let if... I actually don't remember. Is it if the ball hits the net but goes over when serving, you can do the serve over maybe? Is that a let? I think it might be, but I'm not completely certain. What about this? Blowout. And infiltrates. Probably ends in an S. Does that help here? Downtime. Oh, sunsets. The sun goes down. Okay. So there's our pun. The question mark downtime means sundown times. Great. Blowout. And season ticket holder maybe is a diehard fan. Great. Telephone trio DEF on a touch-tone telephone, which we very rarely use anymore, actually, because I guess it is the case that on cell phones, screen-based phones, you still do have this same pattern where you have, what is it, ABC, DEF, sort of sequentially running through the numbers. I think they are still that way when you're on your phone's touch-tone dial screen. Oh, a blowout could be a fête, a party, from celebration in French, fête. And infiltrates. Seeps into, maybe? Actually, that would work with the S here because this is a plural there used during film production and promotion. And what is this? Mixed emotions, so to speak. This looks like all the feels. It's a very modern sort of online formulation. All the feels. Although this doesn't look good, does it? Maybe this is actually just the C rather than... Man, I thought since it was using milieu, the French word, I thought maybe it would want the French word. But it may not, because milieu is also an English word. It's a loan word from French, but it's fully absorbed into the English vocabulary. So it doesn't necessarily mean the clue is calling for something in French. So does that work with C? Occasion for a high flute, like many spiral notebooks. Ruled, yes. It could be ruled, it could have lines, it could be lined to make it easier for writing. Parts of some bowls in brief. I don't know, bowls, maybe it means bowls as in sort of sports tournaments, I'm not sure. Ads, actually. Advertisements running at halftime or what have you. The one in Layla lasts 3 minutes, 48 seconds. What is this? World record holder, Atlas. World record holder. What is the record doing there? So Atlas, famously often depicted in sculpture as supporting the weight of the world. Although I don't think that quite maps to the myth, but that's the common depiction. But what does the record mean? World record holder. I mean, I suppose it's maybe kind of a two-way pun where he's the kind of simultaneously the world record holder of holding the world. I wonder if that's kind of what this is going at. It's sort of cute. You can understand what it means, even if I don't 100% understand the parsing. Okay, and trailers are used during film production and promotion. That's very clever. Because they're two entirely different meanings of trailers in the sense that during film production, a trailer would house equipment and cast and crew. And then in promotion, a film trailer shows off clips from the film in the trailer. Although they're more connected than one might assume, because it was the case many decades ago that trailers followed a film rather than preceding it, which is why they're called trailers. They trailed the screening of the film. Of course, that's long not been the case, presumably because I imagine people would simply leave much of the time, so it made more sense to put them before the film, but they were already called trailers at this point, so that's what they're called. Occasion for a high flute. Now, what is this? And what is the... Oh, outro. Oh, Layla's outro. Last 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Okay, that's fair enough. Wouldn't have known that offhand, but what is... Oh, a toast. Oh, wow, much more clever than I thought. So parts of some bowls in brief, TD's touchdowns, I guess. Wow, okay, fair enough. But this is the clue that I'm interested in. Occasion for a high flute. So you will take your champagne flute, which is that tall, thin stemware traditionally used to serve champagne, and you will raise it high to toast in somebody's honor or something's honor. That is, what an incredibly clever clue. Wow. Okay, get around something is to skirt it. And journalist Swisher, this looks like Kara, most likely. Kara, I suspect. I think I maybe have heard of that person. And onboardee is a new hire. Okay, really? Wow. And Mama Grizzly. Oh, a she-bear, I suppose. Okay. I guess that works. And rockets can be found in it, in brief. Well, this looks like the NBA, so that must be an NBA. It must be a basketball team name, the Rockets. And really, wow, I had no idea. So I felt about several of these clues once I finally solved them. I had no idea. And thanks, Captain Obvious, is also how I felt about myself after getting eventually answers like, is that a no? Which for some reason eluded me. I don't know why. Where was that? Thanks, Captain Obvious. Duh, maybe? And really dry. If a desert is really dry, it could be arid. Okay, dressing option. Caesar dressing doesn't fit. I wonder if it's salad dressing. That's what I'm wondering. Italian dressing. Giant manufacturer of industrial machinery. I don't know. I'm not certain this is Italian, but let's check the crosses. Blank job. And pond blossom, or lotus blossom, perhaps. Dealing with technical details, say, in the weeds. Okay, there we go. Put away is to... right. I have to be careful about this. I read this and I started immediately imagining it in a present tense usage in the infinitive form, to put away. But no, in fact, put is one of those verbs that reads identically, even if you're referring to it in past tense. So yesterday, I put away an entire pizza. Yesterday, I ate an entire pizza, and I have to be very careful about that. Okay, herbal infusions are tisanes. Actually, I realize I've almost never said this word aloud, but when people say herbal tea, that's sort of technically a contradictory phrase because tea is a particular plant and herbal infusions are not technically tea. They're these tisanes, or however you pronounce this. Anyway, that's the answer. Although no one cares if you say herbal tea, it's fine. Psycho is Norman Bates, the character from the Alfred Hitchcock film and novel on which it was based, I suppose, but basically entirely no. Although, yeah, no, the book was also called Psycho, I'm pretty sure. Okay, home of the largest street fair in North America. Must be Toronto, I suppose. And, oh, right, the giant manufacturer, I'm not sure. Blank job. Top job, maybe? Modern day scroll of a sort. Oh, a Twitter user, probably. Oh, so a toe job. Okay. This is one of those things that would be hard to know until you get the crosses because it could plausibly be several things. And ITT is a giant manufacturer of industrial machinery. Okay. Fair enough. I don't think I know that acronym. So that would be a tough cross if you'd never heard of Twitter, but hopefully one would at least be aware of it. Modern day scroll is a Twitter user. There we go. To not be completely accurate with somebody is to... not sure. Oh, no, it's not Twitter user. That would be modern day scroller. Sorry. I think I misread that. I can't remember if I misread it aloud, but I certainly misread it in my brain. A Twitter feed would be the modern day scroll. That's a slightly more difficult answer, I would say. Anyway, to not be completely accurate with, to fib to somebody. There we go. That's why that works. Many a work by the artist Banksy. No, I would say mural here, but then fib to would be wrong. So maybe that is wrong. And that these don't look right. That would have been wint. Well, it's nothing. Buffalo wing. There we go. Although wint actually is a Twitter user, coincidentally. Prepared to end an engagement is set a date for a wedding. And to not be completely accurate with somebody is to fudge the truth, maybe. To fudge the details slightly. So many a work by the artist Banksy is indeed a mural. And keep in mind, when you see many a, that's a common formulation in New York Times crossword cluing, and that is referring to a single clue. It's not saying many works by the artist Banksy, which would be murals. You'd be looking for a plural word, possibly with an S on the end, but many a work by the artist Banksy is a mural. So just look out for that kind of thing, because if you're not paying close attention, it can throw you. Kind of cake with layers of coffee and chocolate. This is opera cake, which I think was brought to mind for me by another crossword recently. I don't remember what it was. Letter after upsilon. Is it phi? And yes, it is. To act crabby, or no, maybe it could be sigh, actually. No, it's not. Resource in the game Catan is wheat. And sorry, I was going to fill this out as well. Another clever punny clue. Sorry, I glossed right over that. The game Catan, strangely, came up in the crossword maybe just last week. I always thought it was called Settlers of Catan, but it was referred to also as Catan in the puzzle recently. It's a game in which you trade resources, wheat, ore, and stone, I think, to build little towns and things like that. Anyway, it's a board game. Act crabby is to sidle. I think this means to crab walk, to walk like a crab, to walk sideways, to sidle. And reactions to strikes are, so you read this and you would think, oh, it's a reaction to industrial action, to a labor strike. But no, the question mark puts it in a punnier place. And so, ow. Okay, because you've been struck. Where to find 55 and over? Now, if this were a cryptic crossword, I would have, and actually I did do this immediately, I would try and find a clue numbered 55 and use that, because often in cryptic clues, you will have a clue referred to and it won't say across or down, and it won't in any other way indicate that it's another clue. It'll just have a number and you just have to determine that. But it might not be. Sometimes it'll be a Roman numeral or something like that. Anyway, there is no 55. Oh, no, there is a 55 actually. Mythical archer. Where to find 55 and over? Maybe it is referring to this. Is it Eros? Where to find Eros and over? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, sorry. I think it is the number 55. So maybe an age. I'm not sure. If something is suitable, it's apt, and a film technique that accommodates wide and full screen display, that accommodates wide and full screen display. I'm not sure what that's referring to, sorry. What about this? Parents obsessed with play dates. Again, another punny clue here. So play, in this case, meaning a dramatic production, a stage production. They could be stage moms because they're obsessed with their children acting in plays. Picking up is somethinging. And we looked at this. Oh, we did. This is the where to find 55 and over. And I went on that long digression that I think added up to nothing. And here we have a Spanish key. Could be an island. Key, an island. And if you're picking something up, you're sensing it. There we go. First name in gossip. No idea. Rona? Is that a name? Does that work? Oscar Wilde tragedy. Well, that would be Salome. So indeed, first name in gossip, Rona. This must be a gossip columnist or something like that. And where to find 55 and over? Radio. What am I not seeing here? Driver in Hollywood. Adam Driver is an actor. Was I to blame? A source of withdrawal could be an ATM. Oh, this is open matte. Open matte. Film technique that accommodates wide and full screen display. And then what is this? Where to find 55 and over? Radio dial? Why is that? What does that mean? Oh, as in, is that on the frequency band? So you'll find, in other words, you'll tune your dial to a number that's 55 and over because that's where the sort of listenable radio frequencies begin. That must be the answer. And then article in a French newspaper would be, okay, so another sort of punny clue here. This one not given the question mark, actually. But in this case, the answer is les, L-E-S, which means it's the definite article for plural nouns. So you'd use les if you're referring to several of something specific. And there it is. That is the solution to the puzzle. And I would say a really great set of clues here. Some really clever cluing. Occasion for a high flute is a toast. That's great. What else was very good? World record holder is the only one that I'm slightly iffy on. I get it, and I think it's clever, but I'm not sure I fully understand every single dimension of it. But let me know if there's something I'm missing, or if my appraisal of it was basically correct. What else was clever? There were some very clever clues here. I'll need to, let's see, how can I find these? Where to fight 55 and over was very clever radio dial. I wish I would have gotten there more quickly immediately. Act crabby is Seidel, that's pretty good. Parents obsessed with playdates, stage mom's very clever. What else was very good? Downtimes, sunsets, very clever. That's very pithy, a very, very curt but clever clue. So, oops, sorry. Just a great set. This is, as I sometimes say, this is, I think, sort of what you want out of a themeless puzzle when you don't have something to tie the puzzle together in terms of subject matter or mechanic. And so instead, the clues are just a little more fun, a little more structured around wordplay than they would be perhaps in a typical puzzle. And it gives the puzzle its own character that it isn't getting from the theme. And I think this fit there. And then we had some very online things like all the feels and Twitter feed, which were actually symmetrically disposed with respect to each other. Look at that. And a fair amount of slang, which does often happen in themeless puzzles that tend to have a fair number of long answers. So they will fill those with phrases. Diehard fans, in the weeds, all the feels. Anyway, there we have it. I enjoyed that Friday puzzle. I hope you did as well. Definitely trickier than the last several days of puzzles, I would say. Some areas did give me some trouble, but not brutally difficult. And let's read a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. How about that? We have James Dickey explains that Wilco, as used in the you often hear the radio slang. You hear people say Roger Wilco. And James Dickey explains Wilco is short for will comply in military radio convention. Will comply, that makes complete sense. Wilco. So I was sort of on the right track with what it means, but I didn't know why it meant that or from what it was derived. So thank you, James Dickey. And ZOR95, this isn't a correction, but it's just an interesting fact about MRIs, magnetic resonance imagery. And I'm reading it because MRI comes up so frequently in the crossword that we might as well all learn something more about it. ZOR95 says, the science and technology they use is basically identical to and was originally developed for something called nuclear magnetic resonance, NMR, imaging, which is a technique often used to identify chemical samples. They had to change the name when using it on humans, however, because people don't like associating with the word nuclear. Presumably, I guess if you're going inside a machine, fair enough. Well, I've had quite a few nuclear magnetic resonance images performed on me in my life, so I guess now I know. Lasagna says, this is not a correction, but just a fun fact about Edna Mode, the character from The Incredibles. She was actually voiced by the director Brad Bird himself. Yes, that is true. Didn't think to mention that yesterday, but thank you, Lasagna. It's a great fact. And sorry if I missed anything else. That was what I had highlighted this morning to read. So thank you to everybody who left comments. Thank you to you for getting to the end of this video. Thank you to everybody who has pledged to the Patreon campaign. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel. So how about that? A quadrilogy of thanks. And I will be back tomorrow for a Saturday puzzle, the second of two themeless puzzles of the week, and possibly, very possibly, the most difficult puzzle yet solved this week. So join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.